Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice Adu. The news is also live on Kazmi 107.1 FM and across the world at 3news.com. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Research Staff Association and Research Scientists Association of Council for Scientific and Industrial Research and Ghana Atomic Energy Commission demand immediate recall of Parliament to repeal Mining in Forest Reserves Regulation 2022. That's LI 2462, as pressure continues to mount on the government to take a decisive action to tackle the illegal mining menace. Also coming up on the program, Ghana Police Service refutes allegation of preventing Democracy Hub from embarking on a planned protest against illegal mining. Also coming up later, driving up Bolt ordered to pay 1.9 million in damages for failure. We'll bring you details of that later. Also this afternoon, National Disaster Management Organization NADMO conducts pre-election simulation exercise with focus on humanitarian consequences in the build-up to the December 7 polls. And much later, we'll tell you this. Government considering petitions from chiefs, members of parliament and opinion leaders for the creation of new district or elevation of the status of some existing ones. Details coming up shortly. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Now, President of the National House of Chiefs, Ogbodu II, has rejected calls for a blanket ban on all mining activities. He instead called for stricter regulations to ensure responsible mining. He was speaking at the commissioning of the Bibiani District Office of the Minerals Commission in Western North. He spoke in Twi. Listen.
No so nkyerɛ sɛ Ghana for emamunye mining no gold no yenya dia na mmom ye wo kwan pa ye fa so etu gold no eno nti na saa dan abayarisi ha no wo ba no de application ba o mbe kyerɛw ba bia o ko du saa dwuma na ebeboa o man no nyina nti yesrɛ wɔn a ɛbɔ dawuro state of emergency yenya mining yenya we no mun sika yenya free mining no sia yenya mining no yenkwara kakra na wa adwuma no ye be yi on adi nemom our say your pepper papa so near the regulate illegal mining no munya abeye mining na efata eno ne yehwe enti mines ne de yebeye nemom yenso ye no momemfa kwan pa so ne enye.
And you heard the President of the National House of Chiefs, Ogbodu II, and he spoke in Twi. In summary, he said, you know, I don't like galamsey or illegal mining, but it doesn't mean we shouldn't mine. I disagree. Do you know how much money we get from mining? We should just regulate it and ensure that we do or engage in responsible mining. Meanwhile, some groups continue to pile pressure on the government to take decisive actions to confront the issues of illegal mining, which continue to cause havoc to water bodies and the environment and erode the socio-economic lives of millions of Ghanaians. The latest group is the Research Staff Association and the Research Scientists Association of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, CSIR, and the Ghana Atomic Energy Commission. In a statement, the groups called for the immediate suspension of all illegal small-scale mining activities in Ghana until there is support for sustainable mining practices. They also are demanding for the immediate recall of Parliament to repeal the Environmental Protection, that's Mining in Forest Reserves Regulation 2022, LI 2462. The group says that the activities of illegal or galamsey operators contribute to the environmental factors that lead to Ghana recording over 24,000 cancer cases annually. Engineer Dr. Shadrach Kwadwamponsa is the National President, Research Staff Association Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, and he joins us live on the line. Good afternoon to you, Doc. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon, Beatrice. Thanks for having me.
Doc, you're calling for the immediate recall of Parliament to repeal the Environmental Protection, that's Mining in Forest Reserves Regulation 2022. Will you say that Parliament was an institution that has done an institution that has done enough over the years to deal with this menace?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon to all listeners. I appreciate this opportunity to speak to this. I will not say I'm the expert in this, but the point here is that generally no one can decide to, be oblivious to the fact that we are having a national security crisis as far as the galamsey is concerned. If you look at the devastation that is ongoing because of how open this whole process of mining or, digging for the gold is in this dispensation, you can understand, what is happening. This is just part of the avalanche of press releases that has been released. And we think that for us, we want to bring up certain proposals that will really help. We may want to agree with Ogbodu the second, who just, you played saying that the ban is not the way to go. We think we want to agree with that. Let's have a suspension for at least a year. And then now we come back to the drawing board and reorganize it. Because the way and manner galamsey is happening across the nation, trust me, the pace at which it's going will not help. But the second proposed solution, we are looking at repealing that regulation. So if you have a regulation that says that you can mine in forest reserves, then in fact we have a long way to go as a nation.
So
that is why we think we should have a real look at it.
And indeed, you're calling for the recall of Parliament, as it were, to come and repeal this law that is, has been passed already. But are you able to tell us, beyond releasing this statement to the media, have you personally sent something to Parliament? Have you received any response yet?
Thank you very much. I think that we released this yesterday evening, and now it's taking, another level where we are having to grant interviews like we are doing this afternoon. We think and we know that whoever needs to see this has seen it. We want to take it further after this and engage them, if possible. Have a press, conference and see the way forward. We need to get to the point where some of these things should be relooked at. Why would we decide that forest reserves, here to where sacred places we wouldn't want to touch? We travel outside the country, we see how they are able to protect their biodiversity, their forests and all that, and we are happy. And then we allow that these things will continue like that. I think it's something that needs to be looked at.
I'm not sure I got a response. Yes, I'm not sure I got a response to whether or not you personally sent something to Parliament and you received anything. Yes, I admit that you say you released this yesterday, but have you sent it to Parliament at least?
We have not done that yet.
Then how do you want Parliament to be recalled if you haven't even directly sent it to the House?
So that is what we are saying, that we are still in that process. This is just one of the strategies. Once we are done with this, we plan to have that conference and then probably send it to Parliament for them to have a look at it.
We'll have to end it here. Thank you very much. That was Engineer Dr. Shadrach Kwejamponsa. He's the National President, Research Staff Association, Council for Scientific and Industrial Research. That's CSIR. Meanwhile, the Pharmacy Technicians Association of Ghana has joined civil service organizations and individuals on the call for a total ban on illegal mining. The association has revealed a growing trend of patient resistance to medications as a result of heavy metals such as lead, mercury, cyanide, and other poisonous chemicals used to pollute water bodies by illegal miners. Thomas Khan has more on this. He joins us live on the line. Thomas, some worrying revelation coming from this association. What more can you tell us?
So they are saying that it is about time government and all those who matter come together to fight this menace. And they are saying that because of this illicit use of dangerous chemicals in the Galamsey, lots is happening. And again, what they find out is that patients who go to the various health facilities are reacting or are proving some kind of resistance to some of the medications that they administer to these patients when they report to the various health facilities to check on some ailments. And they are calling for a total ban on all forms of illegal mining.
You spoke to a representative. Who was that before we hear the passing?
Yeah, so we spoke to the president of the Pharmacy Technicians Association, who is in the person of Richard Ogbodu Adai, who has been giving us details and some of the things that they've been experiencing with patients as far as this Galamsey menace is concerned, and this is what he's been telling us.
Not quite ago, all the unions within the health sector, GOSPA, nurses and midwifery, the doctors and all that, we met and we've issued a statement to the government that government should really have a look at the Galamsey menace because it is really affecting the health of the individuals in this country. When heavy metals like cyanide and other things are washed into rivers, these fishes and other animals come in. And at the same time, these rivers and water bodies flow into other water bodies where people consume. And it is really affecting us. Not long ago, we've seen a lot of serious diseases that are emerging, that are coming up. And it is all as a result of the fact that we have allowed our waters to be polluted by this Galamsey menace. And to tell you what, the medications that these are supposed to be given to patients who are sick, these Galamsey menace, because of it, patients are becoming resistant to it. And this is serious. Can you imagine you are sick and then doctor prescribe a medication for you because of somebody's recklessness in doing Galamsey in a water body?
And you heard Dr. Richard Ogbodu. He's the president of the Pharmacy Technicians Association of Ghana. In a related development, Member of Parliament for Adansiaskwa and Minister for Trade and Industry, Katie Hammond, has warned illegal miners not to come close to his land or it will be a do or die affair. Listen.
Ne papa no no so be ja na me ono so hwe so akọ do di ja me na ma desi ase bofo bi mo peso me Galamsey na wa wu nsura de na akwahye mu so we Galamsey no me no be do and die.
So you heard the MP for Adansiaskwa and Minister for Trade and Industry, Katie Hammond, saying, actually warning illegal miners that it will be a do and die affair if they dare go on his land to do any sort of illegal mining. I brought you that story about Bolt, and let me bring you the details. An Adenta High Court has identified organizations processing personal data of citizens to live up to the high standards of care required by law to prevent use of identities for purposes other than which the individuals have consented to. This caution was issued after the court found ride-hailing company Bolt to have failed to prevent identity theft. A rider who requested a ride surprisingly found his face and name on the app as the responding driver, leading him to seek legal redress. Christian Yale joins me in the studio. He has information from this court case. Christian, just tell us really the background to this case beyond what I just talked about.
All right, Beatrice. And so the case title, as we know, is titled Justice Noah Adade versus Boat Ghana Limited and Boat Holdings OU. The background, like you gave a hint, is that in August 2022, the plaintiff in the case, Mr. Adade, ordered a boat ride on his phone and found himself, i.e. his photograph and details, as being the driver to pick him up. Now, when the ride arrived, it was his own employee, one Peter Walker, who was driving the vehicle. What happened was that Mr. Walker admitted to stealing the lecturer's identity, the plaintiff's identity, and successfully registering himself as a driver on the boat app.
Quite interesting. What was the court ruling and consequential orders? And
so court ordered, the circuit court ordered both to, as a matter of fact, both was actually required by Ghana's Data Protection Act to undertake a liveliness identity verification check. Now, failure to undertake this check amounted to a breach of both's duty of care. Subsequently, the court made these orders. Both has been ordered to pay an amount of 1.9 million Ghana cedi as compensation, and also 20,000 cedis to the lecturer as cost of his legal fees. Again, the Data Protection Commission is to ensure a forensic audit of both system and database to check the accuracy of the identity of all its drivers up until March 2024. Also, the Commission is to ensure that all other ride-hailing platforms in Ghana undergo this exercise. Beatrice.
Thank you very much, Christian Yale. I'm sure there will be some more interesting twists coming up later. But we also spoke to the lawyer for this man, Nicholas Lenin Ananiaje. He's lawyer for this lecturer in law and technology that we were talking about. He just told us really a bit more beyond what Christian Yale just told us. Just listen.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity. I think the decision by the Adenta Circuit Court is commendable and very progressive. If you ask me, in the landscape of the data protection regime we are in now, such decisions are long overdue, because in other countries, you see such decisions being made, not even by the courts, but by the data protection commissions themselves. And so to have somebody go to court and mandate to secure a judgment, not just against any entity, but against such a well-known public entity, I think it is progressive and it must be commended. The judge ought to be commended for the decision.
And you heard that Nicholas Lenin Ananiaje, he is a lawyer and lecturer in law and technology, speaking about this boat issue, and we'll bring you more as and when we have it. You're still here on the Midday News on 3FM 92.7, some 19 minutes past the hour of 12. When we come back, we'll tell you the details the police administration is giving as regards whether or not it's prevented Democracy Hub from going ahead with its protest. Don't go away.
Big money, money, money. Want more money, more moolah, more kudi, more sika, or more l'argent?
Yes.
Then win more moolah with 30 Ghana cedis free credit when you play Game Park's Pick 1 and Pick 4 games for the first time.
How?
Just dial *946# or visit the nearest Game Park agent to play, get your first bet, and win on us with a 30 Ghana cedi welcome bonus.
Oh, yes. It's all about the moolah.
Win more moolah with Game Park today. Go to GameParkGames.com for more information. Game Park is licensed by the NLA. Play responsibly. Not suitable for persons under 18 years.
And you're still here on the Midday News on Sri FM 92.7. Thank you for staying. Now, the Ghana Police Service is refuting allegations of preventing Democracy Hub from embarking on a planned protest scheduled for September 21, 2024. For them, for the police administration, members are up for the engagement on a different location rather than the Revolution Square in front of the Jubilee House. This afternoon, so let's bring you some more on this. Armstrong Alogbe is following that, and he will be joining us very shortly. But ahead of that, the police administration also addressed the press. Just take a listen to what they said. Okay, I do understand George Quaining is on the line with us. George, what more can you tell us?
So, Beatrice, thanks for having me. So, on the 9th of July this year, the police received a notice from the Democracy Hub of their planned protest. That's the Ogbodu Jubilee House and the Storm Galant protest. And it's scheduled for 21st to 23rd of September. But the police had to conduct an assessment of the proposed location, and that's the Revolution Square in front of the Jubilee House. So after their conclusion, they realized that the protest, if the protest takes place, could really affect public order, endanger public defense, public safety, and also ensure, some essential services are halted. And that is not what they want. And so because of that, they have to seek some interpretation from court, and court went ahead to prohibit the protest. So what my understanding is that the protest will go on if there's a change of location by organizers. But if the organizers are still insisting on going with the same location, then I'm sorry, it will not take place. But today, the person that spoke in charge of the service was the Director of Public Affairs, that's ACP Grace Ansako. She said a lot, and then we have the soundbite.
The Ghana Police Service has not stopped Democracy Hub from embarking on a demonstration from 21st to 23rd September as is going around. The only issue is that the police and the Democracy Hub disagree on the choice of location, that is the Revolution Square, for the planned protest. The service has duly communicated in a letter to the Democracy Hub that we are prepared to sit with them once again and agree on a location. And also that the Ghana Police Service has put in place sufficient security measures to ensure that they get the opportunity to exercise their democratic right of protest.
You heard the ACP and Kofi of the Ghana Police Service. Earlier you heard our reporter George Quaining bringing the response of the police to that allegation that the administration is trying to stop Democracy Hub from going on a demonstration. When we come back, we'll tell you what NADMO is doing as part of its preparedness towards the 2024 general election. Don't go away.
Big money. Want more money, more moolah, more kudi, more sika, or more l'argent?
Yes.
Then win more moolah with 30 Ghana Cedis free credits when you play Game Park's Pick 1 and Pick 4 games for the first time.
How?
Just dial *946# or visit the nearest Game Park agent to play, get your first bet, and win on us with a 30 Ghana Cedi welcome bonus.
Oh, yes. It's all about the moolah.
Win more moolah with Game Park today. Go to GameParkGames.com for more information. Game Park is licensed by the NLA. Play responsibly. Not suitable persons under 18 years.
And it's here on the Midday News on Sri FM 92.7. Now, this afternoon, the National Disaster Management Organization, in partnership with stakeholders in the northern region, is undertaking a simulation exercise that has a bearing on humanitarian consequences in the build-up to the 2024 general election. Christopher Marco is following this for us. He joins us live on the line. Chris, what more can you tell us about this exercise?
So Beatrice, this engagement is with stakeholders like the military, the Ghana Police Service, the ambulance service, and other service organizations that seek to ensure that in the build-up to the 2024 general elections, these organizations are not taken by surprise when it comes to issues of national concern or disaster. And so the simulation exercise is to, first of all, enhance their preparedness towards any unforeseen eventualities. The director of the National Disaster Management Organization in the Northern Region has been explaining this to the media. Let's take a listen to what he's been saying.
Christopher, I'm sorry, we don't have that, but I also know that you've been engaging some stakeholders. What have they been telling you?
Yes, so they are talking about the fact that the 2024 general election is crucial, and for that matter, it needs to be people. So they are well prepared, they are full prepared, waiting for the December 7th for them to go and ensure that they put everything in place for us to have a peaceful election. They are optimistic that Ghanaians are beginning to understand the electoral process, and so there wouldn't be any cause for alarm. But however, if anything of that sort happens, they're ever ready to address it with some level of urgency.
Thank you very much, Christopher Amoako. He's our Northern Region correspondent. He earlier told us about what the NADMO director said. Let's listen to what he said, actually.
As part of preparation towards the national elections, we try to put together a contingency plan, which is supposed to address any hiccups, any issues that may come out of the elections. And in doing that, we brought together all the stakeholders to one table. That will be part of the elections, including the Electoral Commission, police, all the security agencies, and then the CSOs that will support whenever there is an outcome that people may not like, and then it may end up in violent situations. So in doing that, we brought together all the national stakeholders at the national table, and we decided to put together a simulation, a contingency plan. After putting together the contingency plan, we need to test the plan to see how it works whenever we go to the field, so that no institution will be caught wanting whenever the situation arises for them to respond. So this is to help us to iron out issues when it comes to the gaps that we may detect when it comes to.
Now, the government is considering petitions from chiefs, members of parliament, and opinion leaders asking that it create new districts or elevate some districts. An interinstitutional task force has, in the last few days, been embarking on field assessment to determine whether there is a justifiable basis for the various requests. Currently, Ghana has a total of 261 metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies. Now, petitions have been received from Western North Ahafo, Bono Ashanti, Bono East Savannah, Northern, Eastern and Greater Accra regions for the creation of new districts, and we'll bring you more as and when we have information, and of course in our subsequent bulletins. And before we go, the MP for Tamale South and former Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu has reiterated the NDC's call for an independent forensic audit of the voters' register. In a soon-to-air interview, the Tamale South MP challenged the Electoral Commission to allow the audit if they have nothing to hide.
My own constituency, the Tamale South constituency, we have had some mystery of illegal voter transfer to Pusiga constituency. How did that happen? Who supervised it? Who authorized it? In link with who? With officials of the Electoral Commission.
The EC has admitted to that one.
It is not enough to admit. I hope that you are watching CNN today. Just go to the US, either in Alaska or in Arizona today. There's correction of about 100,000 votes on an electoral roll in America. So what is this holier than thou feeling?
And you heard there a former minority leader and MP for Tamale South. That's it for the news show on Shri FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice Adu. Thank you very much for joining us today. Log on to shrinews.com for more news. Coming up next is Business Daily with Michael Ogbodu.
Hello there, good afternoon. Welcome to Business Daily here on 3FM 92.7. Coming up, Africa Center for Energy Policy ASEP demands stronger PRC oversight of ECG to address financial losses. Also, Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Ernest Addison orders banks to act on rising staff fraud cases, urging stricter measures to curb practice.
And SDIs are putting in place measures to detect and prevent fraud from outsiders. Their own staff are increasingly perpetrating fraud.
Plus, Bayport Savings and Loans temporarily halts loans to nurses due to their significant contribution to non-performing loans. We'll hear from the director of Bayport Savings and Loans, Akwesi Abuaje. I am Michael Ogbodu. I'll bring you details of our top stories and more shortly. Please stay. Well, thank you so much for your time, and straight into our top story. And the Africa Center for Energy Policy ASEP has called on the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission PRC to strengthen its oversight of the Electricity Company of Ghana ECG to address the utility provider's persistent financial losses. Over the past few years, ECG has reported significant losses, with the Energy Sector Recovery Program estimating power sector shortfalls of approximately $8.2 billion between 2019 and 2023. ASEP is urging PRC to implement stricter regulatory measures, particularly focusing on improving transparency, revenue collection, and expenditure to help curb the company's financial losses. Joining us on the phone to have a conversation on this issue is Kojo Yauche. He is the policy lead for petroleum and conventional energy at ASEP. Kojo, thank you so much for your time. Now, help us understand why this call.
Thank you very much, Michael, for having me. So this call comes on the back of the PRC's letter to the Energy Minister, really recounting the state of the power sector and the dangers that it poses to the entire economy. And our point really is that the PRC's letter is only a rehash of an old problem that is known to all the players in the sector, including the minister that they are writing to, especially if you look at the data that is available year on year. ECG have been making losses.
Okay, Kojo, so we know the background to the story, but then help us understand, how sure are you that this call, especially on PRC, will help address the financial challenges that we are concerned about?
Well, I mean, over time, ECG has created a facade that creates the impression that everything is going on well. the company is being managed properly and they are actually doing better. So PRC coming out to paint this picture for all Ghanaians to see. And we also asking them that they shouldn't be begging ECG for transparency. They should, and also proposing policy reforms to address regulatory failures. They should function the utility that they are supposed to be regulating. If the utility regulator is the one now asking and proposing structures for which we can reform ECG, then that is very unfortunate. What we are asking the regulator is, you have benchmarks for collection, you have benchmarks for losses, and flagrantly, year on year, month on month, these benchmarks are being abused. What are you doing about them?
Interesting one there. We'll have to leave it here. Thank you so much for your time. We'll expand this conversation in our subsequent bulletin. So that was the Petroleum and Conventional Energy Lead at the Africa Center for Energy Policy, ASEP, Kojo Yauche, speaking there. But away from that, the Bank of Ghana is pushing for stricter measures in response to the growing involvement of bank staff in fraud. Addressing bankers in Accra, Governor Dr. Ernest Addison directed banks to tighten internal checks, improve staff screening, and provide ongoing training to ensure better oversight and prevent incidents like cash theft from continuing to rise. This is against the backdrop of bank staff involvement in fraud rising by 46%.
The number of staff rose from 188 in 2022 to 274 in 2023, representing an increase of 46%. It further emerged that out of the 274 cases of fraud recorded involving staff in 2023, 211 were involved in cash theft, that is cash suppression, as compared to 140 staff in 2022. This means that while banks and SDIs are putting in place measures to detect and prevent fraud from outsiders, their own staff are increasingly perpetrating fraud. The Bank of Ghana is obviously concerned about this growing trend and mandates banks and SDIs to strengthen their internal controls and enhance staff due diligence during recruitment, as well as reinforcing continuous in-house staff training on professional conduct.
So that was Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, speaking there. Meanwhile, the Ghana Association of Banks has expressed concerns that broader economic threats may hinder the banking sector's gradual recovery from the adverse impacts of COVID-19 pandemic and the domestic debt exchange program. Speaking at the 41st annual general meeting of the association, President John Kofi Adu emphasized the need for continued vigilance and strategic measures to safeguard the sector's recovery efforts. He warned that without targeted interventions, the progress made so far could be at risk.
Broader economic trends require continuous monitoring. The sector's interconnectedness with the overall economic system makes it vulnerable to policy decisions and external factors. The IMF projects a decline in global growth from 3.04 in 2022 to 2.53 in 2023 and 2.4 in 2024, similar to Fitch Solutions' forecast of 2.6% for 2023 and 2.1% for 2024. Advanced economies are expected to see a slowdown due to inflation combating policies. Ghana's growth is projected to decline to 1.16% in 2023 due to contractionary policies under the IMF program, with recovery anticipated at 2.69% in 2024.
That was President of the Ghana Association of Banks, John Kofi Adu speaking. Bayport Savings and Loans has since 2023 halted loans given out to nurses, according to Managing Director of the company, Akwesi Abuaje. The move became necessary as the sector significantly defaulted on loans, leading to a rise in their non-performing loans. He was speaking on the sidelines of the facts behind the figures organized by the Ghana Stock Exchange.
we have changed our underwriting rules. So, for the last 1 year, we haven't done any disbursement to nurses. And that was where it was very, very pervasive. All of the other areas, we have tweaked our rules a bit just to make sure that we contain that challenge. So although it's a challenge, it's not as big a challenge for us because we understand what we are doing and we continue to change the way we do things so that we can continue to serve our customers, because you can't stop serving all of your customers because of a small population who are not paying. We actually nipped it in the bud before it became a very big problem for us. That's why we stopped it. Because when we saw the trend, we then saw there was the need for us to look at it. And when we tried to put in measures, all the measures didn't work. So then the decision was, let's put it on hold until we can see a bit of difference. And since then, it hasn't really changed. And that's why we haven't gone back to that.
So that was Managing Director of Bayport Savings and Loans there, Kwesi Abuaje, bringing an end to Business Daily here on 3FM 92.7. For more business stories, please check out our website. It's 3news.com/business. I am Michael Ogbodu. Thank you for listening. As always, please stay safe.